using a new feature on the Mac called Stage Manager. I think it was responsible for that weird little glitch. Did anyone look at the minutes other than me?
I looked at them.
They just went out today. I had one change that, it was minor. It was in regards to the site planning document. We had said that we needed to run it by the Conservation Commission and then submit it to the select board. She thought that we already had gotten approval. So, did you get a copy of that?
Yeah, Connor sent it to the board.
So he did prior to the packet going out to the next meeting.
Yes.
Okay. Were you? So you were at the library.
The last, no, I wasn't at the, was there one today?
No.
27th. We gave the update from the last library meeting.
Oh, I thought it was up before every meeting. I was there.
No, this one next week.
Okay.
But that's colors. So,
You got to explain.
I might not
Wall
have-
colors.
colors, floors, walls, stuff like that.
Isn't that jumping?
I don't,
I would have thought there were other more important things to get figured out now, one of which they're putting paint up.
they're really hamstrung because of the date of the purchase. There's only so much they can do, which is crazy.
When is that?
Depends.
Well, the money should be available at the end of July. So the purchase could be sometime in August. But then they have 2 or 60 days to take out those lead rooms.
Right.
So,
There's a lead problem in there?
well, this the
X-ray.
X-ray rooms.
Oh,
Like,
Lead line room.
oh,
why
I
they
see.
can't just have somebody do it now?
Well, they've tried. Corporate is not moving at all. New Hampshire corporate wants to.
Yeah.
And Tennessee corporate, no.
They're too busy figuring out how to scam Medicaid. I say that.
Wait, so you're saying there, the HCA corporate local would like to remove it?
Yeah,
Why, are they responsible?
they'd like to get the project moving and get it done.
Probably recycling it.
I don't know what they're doing.
I would think.
Yeah,
fully.
There is a market.
yeah, well, that's worth something.
But corporate Tennessee doesn't seem to be concerned
Yeah,
about,
right.
they're not in any rush to do anything.
Okay, well, who am I to argue with HCA? Right?
Yeah, it's just discouraging.
I didn't look up on the roof. What's going on up there?
I think all of the stringing is done up there. You notice there's a bunch of wires up there.
Yeah.
I don't know that they finished in the attic because it's got to stay up high. Stop. Then there was fire again.
Yeah, it was a freon leak. I thought it was a fire originally, but it was a freon.
Oh, nice.
Not anything to do with
Yeah,
the solar.
It was so hot up there, the
installation.
freon turned into fog, and they thought it was smoke. The guys at the HVAC guys said they called it English.
But they went out with off here.
The freon, the particles or something created like a smoking, so that set off the alarm.
Oh, that's
It was a sensor.
It set off the fire alarm in the building.
Well, I mean, also, it's not that harmful to them, but if it's displacing the oxygen, it's not a good thing to be in.
It'll make you better.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think, I haven't been in the utility room. Have they put anything on the wall in the utility room?
No.
Yeah, they've
Well,
been sure
plywood.
getting the roof done, so I think
Yeah,
next
well-
week it'll be done.
Yeah, I know. I had proposed that, during the hot weather, they should work electrical.
It's air conditioned.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, they're up there when it was 85, so okay.
they got pulled out earlier Tuesday.
Yeah.
They weren't here today at all.
I'm sure they'll get it.
Yeah, next week.
I did I sent an email to Ted about getting us a quote for the snow retention system. He
Yeah.
reiterated it's going to be trivial.
Yeah.
That it's going to be well within the budget, so I'm not worried about it. But, maybe they're gonna be completely done next week. What do we have to go through with Eversource to actually turn?
Well, so the next couple of steps are, as soon as it's done, it has to be inspected. There's an Eversource document for you to sign. I send that to Eversource with a bunch of pictures, and then we sit around and twiddle our thumbs for a while, waiting for them to do whatever it is they do.
Okay.
I mean, what's funny about the process is we've already told them exactly what we're gonna do and they've approved it.
Right.
So even after you do it, it still takes weeks for them to decide that you actually did what you said you were
And
gonna
it's not that they're gonna come here and
No,
do something.
no.
It's bureaucratic.
do. Yeah, no, they used to come do witness tests. You actually had to prove that the thing turned off when the power went out. They don't even do that anymore. So all they have to do is approve it and then they come and swap the meter. As soon as they swap the meter, we can turn the thing on. And then there's some more paperwork to get REC set up and to get the rebate for the town. Yeah, so
So
it
they
could be,
do a dual meter or?
no, they have
They have
two-way meters. So I would say 3 weeks from today, probably. Roughly.
Good to know. There has not been a great deal going on with community power. There was, I'm not sure what happened to some community power. But, well, actually, there are a few things. So apparently, in the past, Eversource has been limited to power purchase agreements of 6 months. That's why they were twice a year. That is about to change. They are going to be able to have power purchase agreements up to 20 years. This is as a result of SB 54. We don't have.
That's sort of
So,
makes community power riskier.
well, it's more competitive. So I think, it's going to, it still is a for-profit utility. They will go through the same process that the coalition does. I believe they still need to announce their rates in advance of, a few weeks in advance of when the coalition will. So the coalition will have that information and will obviously try to beat that rate.
Yeah.
But, it will depend on what decisions they make. It turns out that Eversource is really good at this. We'll see what happens. But this did come up at the coalition board meeting that this was happening. And they basically said they have no way of knowing what the situation will be. But we shall see. And if you're interested, this link was there. This is combined with something else, which is that Eversource has applied to the PUC for a rate increase. The rate increase on distribution and transmission, a huge increase.
Oh, I got an email from Matt saying something about it. He didn't say that. He just said 42%, which would, if it was on energy, it would be back at 11.5 cents, which is,
Yeah, no,
but they're,
this is on distribution and transmission. So, the fact that people have joined the coalition would have no effect on it. And the Office of the Consumer Advocate is raising a huge stink about this.
so this is a double whammy.
The document that Eversource submitted is 20,000 pages.
Holy shit. 20,000?
20,000 pages. The list of people that they've submitted to testify to the PUC is as long as your own. It is really ridiculous. So, but it's going to be a process. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, and they're looking to look forward 4 years in their rates. So they have one temporary rate that they're looking to change by August 1st. And that will, for the average consumer, which is 600 kilowatts a month, that will go up like $8 or no, $6. And then it'll go up $11 if it's permanent. But they, Eversource says it's 17% what they're asking for is an increase, but the consumer advocate looked closely at their
Yeah,
configuration and determined that it was more like 46%.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I know I have a link to that. This is not. So this is, I know I have a link in there to that, here somewhere to that article.
If I remember correctly, Rob was the one who pointed out that if the energy costs are competitive, then they'll just go up on the distribution side, which coincidentally, they haven't had an increase in 4 years, so since 2019.
I mean, everything's gotten more expensive, so it's not like
Right.
there's some surprising, but
Basic support.
This was it.
And there's certainly a lot of storm activity,
Hmm,
Yeah,
which increases their costs a lot.
Yeah, it does. And that I assume is wrapped in the distribution charge. I don't know how they can increase the transmission charge. I thought that that was a regional function.
Then there's a basic energy charge as well, which is right now around $11, but that's projected to go up $16 or $7.
What's the
It's
basic?
just a charge that is a standard.
Oh, the meter, it's
That's
the
it.
meter.
That's the electric heavy meter charge.
Yeah.
That's my whole bill.
That's 13, mine is $13.
Yeah,
It is, mine is like 15 or. Mine is at least, well, no, there's taxes and other stuff, so you're fine. So this is the article. It's down under the notable items. Eversource seeks 42% rate, right? So it's worth reading that to see what the Office of the Consumer Advocate had to say and how he arrived at the numbers that he did. And there is one good thing that they're doing, although it kind of gets covered up. They are going to they're recommending going to a performance-based rating system. But it's very hard to know what they mean by it. I mean, everyone is recommending going to performance-based rating.
Meaning what?
Meaning that they are allowed to set their rates according to how well they're doing in serving whoever the PUC thinks they should be serving. So, I mean, this is why I say you can structure performance-based rating systems in any way you want. If, you know, there's ideas that are being put out by the Office of the Consumer Advocate, by CPCNH, by Clean Energy New Hampshire, that should be pretty good and could work to the advantage of the consumer. But you could very easily envision other things in there that would basically either entrench the status quo or make it worse, or who knows. So, and you have to plow through so much material to figure out what's going on. And you have to assume that the PUC is going to be of a like mind.
Yep.
And all of those things are questionable. Anyway, it's worth looking at this article from the Office of the Consumer Advocate. The link is in what I sent out, I think. This is actually misplaced, but so this is the 20,000 page document. You can link to it if you want to read it. And then this is their list of testifiers before the PUC so far. And then Clean Energy New Hampshire has put in Sam and Chris. Yeah, Sam and Chris Hoagland are going to testify. Obviously, the OCA is going to testify. I'm sure that CPCNH will get something in here at some point. I don't know when this is going to happen.
sounds like it's gonna take forever.
Well,
Well, no, they want to get the temporary one through for August 1st. And then the permanent will be August of 2025, so they'll have, that full hearings over that, but I don't know what they're gonna do between now and August 1st.
Temporary one goes through. Where did you find that information?
It was in the cover letter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they talked about temporary.
Is it this cover letter or? This cover letter?
I think it's the one below 611.
But doesn't the PUC have to approve that?
Would think.
Yeah, they definitely have to approve both temporary.
PCs.
So right there,
whenever
seeking temporary rates
30
going
years.
to August 1st. And then
Still set.
permanent. in
Oh, yeah.
August.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Weeks.
That seems really fast.
yeah,
Given the size of the documentation body that they've submitted, I'd be surprised if they get that through. In addition to which, it's the summer. How fast does a PUC move in the summer?
right. Vacations.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, lots of new things there.
Joining Clean Energy Past too. I don't know if that's on your list, but you just.
Yeah, I'll get to that. The rate setting schedule, I showed this at the last meeting. The critical date is going to be this one where they post their rates. I'll send a notification out before then. I'm going to attend this risk management committee meeting on the 25th. I think that's when the rate will actually be proposed. And it has to be approved by the board, which it is. And I won't say it's a rubber stamp, but unless the risk management, that's the purpose of the risk management committee. So for the board to overrule them, there's something significant would have to happen. Leah said she will get the new rate information up when it's announced on the 1st, so that will go there. And then we come to the SAU. So if you remember, I had proposed to Joe Williams and actually Deanna Ray as well, that they talked to Highland Fleet, which is a company out of Massachusetts, which manages leasing of electric school buses. They set up the whole infrastructure. They take care of everything from start to finish for the town. And they claim that they come in at a lower cost for the town. There's a good podcast on that. I had sent that out earlier. It's not here. Joe did say he had listened to that a while ago. I kept trying to get, there's a guy, Jason Proposer or something like that, Highland Fleets. I was doing the back and forth between him and Joe, and finally got him to send out a Google Calendar link for people to sign up for meeting, so that there could be a meeting between at least Joe at the SAU, and my hope was that Deanna would participate as well, and I wanted to participate. I don't know if that ever happened. I sent an email when I didn't hear for a couple of weeks. I sent an email back to Jason and I said, have you heard anything from Joe Williams? Is there a meeting? He got back a few hours later and said, I was just talking to Joe this morning and we're looking into the site selection characteristics and clearly something had happened there. And I wrote him back and I said, please keep me in the loop on whatever has happened here. In addition, what site has been proposed? Because I said there's potential synergies for the town and the school system to work together on this, because they're both going to have needs for electric vehicles in the future and for an EV charging station. Sent an email to Joe about it. Sent another letter to Jason. I had heard nothing. I don't know what's going on. I'm very unhappy. I went through that Siemens document, and you're right, it's basically a proposal for mechanical upgrades. A few, yeah, and they probably make sense. But it was 10 years ago. I had no idea whether the proposal was carried out. Joe, whether or not it was, haven't heard back from him. I spoke to Resilient Buildings Group. There's a woman in charge of audits now. But I spoke with her and, just to get a feel for what they might do. And she said they would be happy to, talk to Joe and us and see what might make sense to put together. And they would work with Eversource to get funding for the audits. There are 2 levels of audits they can do. One is more or less a walkthrough, maybe some air leakage testing. The other is more detailed. And it's all to be discussed. I asked her if she could give me some idea of what this would cost, and then I realized I don't know anything about the building. So how she has nothing to base it on since I can't tell her anything. And that's what she said. She immediately came back and said, "Do you know what the square footage of the building is?" I had no idea. So I will get. I did ask Joe. I said I'd like to put together a meeting with this woman and go through this information, see what we could do.
Where do they park all the buses? Is it by Knights Garage? or
Well,
they-
they're leased. It's a leasing company.
No, but like currently, where are all the buses?
Yes, I'm next, I think.
I think
So
so.
do they?
I believe so.
Because they don't own those buses.
No.
Yeah.
They say Barrington School District, so
Yeah.
they must be fully dedicated.
And some of them are registered through the town.
Really?
Yeah. Well,
That's
it's cheap, Register them once for 5 years and I think it's $20 or something like that. It doesn't cost a lot to register as government plates. So they save money that way.
They can register for 5 years?
Yeah. And I think they're permanent now. I think the plates, I don't think they 5 years any longer.
Are you doing inspections? Take inspection?
They still have to inspect school buses, yeah. And town vehicles have to be inspected. Town vehicles have to be inspected every year. So,
And
how a
anyway,
private leasing company gets to use the town licensing.
it's happened for years, and when I was on the school board, I asked about it, because it was a private Dale Transportation, was our contractor back when I was a school board. It's a way to save money, and the town's leasing the buses, so they're the towns, but they aren't really the towns, We might be leasing them, but they're not really ours.
Interesting.
the smoke-filled rooms, right? Anyway, so that's what's been going on with the SAU. I'm going to talk to Connor about this. I don't think there's really much that I can do. If they don't want to talk to us, they don't want to talk to us. I don't know what the situation is.
I know Joe's pretty busy right now, with school ending and that, so that could be some of the problem.
Yeah, but
This is the school year is pretty bad.
this isn't going on for 2 months.
Yeah, but they've got a lot to finish up the school year.
Okay, well,
Try to plan for the summer.
I'll bug him again if he gets back to me.
Yeah.
I'm not sympathetic because,
No.
I know what it takes to just write an email and say, sorry, I'm busy, I'll get back to you. Because I used to have to do that when I was a manager. I just don't.
It's interesting how many emails aren't answered when you send them.
Yeah,
To
yeah, it's
different
true.
ones, so.
It's true. As Rob said, the site selection criteria for the solar arrays has gone out. I guess, I don't know, will you discuss it at the next meeting or something?
I don't know. You were at the last meeting.
Yeah.
We announced that it was going to be coming out.
Yeah.
Going to the conservation commission. I don't know. We can check with Connor. I haven't heard that it's going to be an agenda to talk about it for sure. Or
Yeah,
but
it might just be an FYI.
I mean, it's for reference for if and when those decisions and thoughts are happening.
Yeah, no, I mean, they or Connor may want to have a conversation with us about moving forward. And actually, Jack, one of the things that I was thinking is if the SAU stuff isn't going to go anywhere, we might want to concentrate a little bit more than we have been on some of the other municipal buildings.
Yeah.
I think once we have more information and hopefully hear back from the city, that you can kind of have that information and bring that to the board and related to the site criteria selection to say, this is how things are panning out as options.
Okay, as you mentioned, the Clean Energy New Hampshire membership was approved and we joined. That's good. With the credit card, they were very happy.
Thanks for getting the list of.
It turned out it was on their website.
What's it?
I
don't think I see it.
I sent an email the day before, but somewhere just so that it was like, good, somebody got it.
Yeah, I noticed.
Good list.
Yeah, no, it's
Because Sam got it to me,
Yeah.
Well, Sam sent it to one of his lackeys. She got it to me within minutes, which was great. So that's good. We don't have to feel bad about asking them for help on things or advice or information. I am going to hit them up on a model ordinance. I understand the model solar ordinance.
Oh, there is one already.
Yeah, there's an old one. My understanding is that they were working on updating it.
That would be good.
Yeah, because it was quite old. It's from 2000.
Yeah, and there's this airport thing in there that tripped everybody up. And I don't know who did this, but somebody put in a section about having to get approval from the FAA on placement.
If you were in a certain,
Well, it wasn't within a certain, it was just near airports.
because of the fluctuation.
Well, but I got tangled with this one in Moultonborough where we were like 3 or 4 miles from the airport and there were 2 ponds between us and the airport. And in the end, there's a woman in state government who works for the FAA, and she basically said, look, none of this applies unless it's actually on the property of the airport.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Which makes some sense. We might have a pretty small breeze.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is that in our model?
No.
Is that-
No, maybe hopefully they're taking that out of there because it's just a problem.
And this was in the model ordinance that they had online.
Yeah. And the town of Moultonborough insisted on it being, met.
How do you meet something that's abstract? How do you define meter?
Exactly. Well, the inspector didn't really care.
Yeah.
We're near an airport. Yep. Okay.
Okay, well, anyway, so I will, we can feel free to call on them for assistance now. We have been anyway, and they've been very good. So, the train has been, never raised the issue at all. And she does know that we were trying. She was notified of the chance. Matt and Cindy aren't here, so we don't know if anything was happening with that. Anyone have anything else that they wanted to bring up? No? I will bring up 2 things. You've heard me talk about the Volts podcast before, which I highly recommend. Dave Roberts is the guy who does the interviews. He's a techno geek. He likes to investigate all of these cutting edge technologies. cutting edge, but which are in the process of being developed commercially. So he's not out on the pure research. He's into companies that are actually putting this stuff into practice. So it's, there's a higher level of credibility. He does a good job. It's a very interesting show. That's where I heard the one on Highland Fleets. This was a couple of years ago now. And he's done a number of other things. But some of his stuff is probably pie in the sky. And there's another podcast which is done by a investment group that specializes in the same sort of thing. And it is very good. And it's much more based in reality. I just listened to this one was very interesting. Doug had sent me a bit of a rant on the extent to which AI was going to push power consumption, and there is a concern, but I think it's probably overblown. It also falls into the category for me that this was going to happen anyway. Data center, you're not going to get rid of data centers, what you need to do is figure out what they need, handle it as best you can. This was and he was, I heard, Bill Gates. It said something. I didn't say it to Doug, but Bill Gates isn't at Microsoft. I'm sure he has plenty of contacts there, but he's not running the place. So this was given by someone who had been the VP of some of the departments that were responsible for the data center construction and power planning. And it was very well done. And basically everything I've heard from this has been well done. It's not always something you want to hear, but it's good to know about because it gives you that perspective of how realistic are some of these things. So that's one. That's a good, I highly recommend this. The other one that I have here is one of the Vault's podcasts, and it falls more into the reality-based area as well. This is by an economist who has written a book called The Price is Wrong. And his thesis is that the problem, so I think we're all fairly aware that although there is some pretty rapid adoption of renewable energy, wind and solar, it's not going fast to help quickly. And what he argues is that the reason for that is what has been concentrated on is driving the price down to a very low level. And it's been incredibly successful. But that's not what investment is based on. It's based on profit. And low prices do not mean profit. In fact, they drive the margins down in the industry. So I actually he wrote a book on this, so I just bought the book today. More to say about this. I mean, one of the solutions, he said, is that this is not something that is necessarily best in the sphere of commercial development. Maybe that this is a good place for government. The other thing that government has done, which has been helpful, could continue to be helpful, is subsidies, because they make something that's low margin much more attractive. But it's a very good interview. I recommend the podcast in general. I recommend this one in particular for understanding some of the situation that exists that we've seen going on with slower adoption than we would hope, or problems with the wind projects that have been going on offshore, things like that. That was it. That's all I got.
Does Maine have an incentive for solar fields?
I don't think so.
Because you go up along the 95 and then a lot of the exits have solar, especially in Augusta. It's crazy in Augusta.
The exits.
Yeah, off ramps, there's solar in the off ramps.
Well, that's an example of what the governor can do.
Yeah,
I mean, she basically opened the floodgates for that.
Because they do have some reasonably significant medium solar installations as well. There's one in Wells off Route 9A.
Those, they're 5 and 10 kilowatt projects all over the place. Tons.
How are they incentivized? If you know, or have?
They just got rid of the roadblocks.
Oh.
But there's so many of them that now there's this massive queue because the substation upgrade bills are coming due. And those are millions of dollars. So there's a whole, there must be, I don't know, I have some friends who are doing some projects there. They installed on a couple of years stuff. Because there's so many in line, and there's so much, there's not enough substation capacity to take it all.
So I mean, they still get the federal.
Yeah, it just looks like extra.
But
Yeah.
my father just expanded his solar system. He was in Freeport. And he asked Vision, were there any state incentives that we could apply for?
you certainly have seen proactive.
Well, what's the thing? What page?
It's the other
It's
way
the one that
around.
breaks the whole time. It actually didn't permit anything. So anything would have been an improvement, but Mills is just not great. Stuff going on.
Yeah.
I didn't realize there was that much. going on.
Yeah, there's a massive labor shortage. Because of it.
They can't read the roof.
Yeah, right, electricians.
I did see, I don't know what I was looking at recently, but there was a map, a national map of solar projects and their sizes were shown by the different size bubbles. Like that. And there was certainly things going on in Maine. There's stuff going on surrounding us. And New Hampshire is a black hole. There is nothing in New Hampshire. There was one little tiny thing. Massachusetts border. That's it.
Again, it's amazing what a governor can do.
In Augusta alone, I bet you there's hundreds of acres of solar field. And there's more in the process. Just amazing.
Did you know, you probably wouldn't have been able to see if they have battery storage.
I don't know that. Almost, I know what battery storage would look like.
Because I mean, with modern projects, they should be putting storage along. So it really does. make sense.
So these are all modern projects in the last 5 years.
Yeah. Right. They should know.
They're all big projects. Must be
Well,
millions of dollars.
The interesting thing, Jim, is these are medium scale. So large scale solar, we don't do that on the East Coast.
Yeah, I think that 10 megawatts are probably big stuff.
Yeah,
Whereas, well,
Right. It's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, don't get me wrong, but
they probably have the land out there too.
they do. And they figure out different ways that it can be installed. And there's a lot of resistance in the Midwest. There's a lot of propaganda.
Yeah.
Shall we brave the rain? Shall we declare the meeting closed?
Yeah.
Okay, we're closed.
I don't know about
Bye-bye.